All right. What's up, everybody? Hope
How's
everybody,
everyone doing tonight?
yeah, hope everybody had a good weekend. What's up, Caleb?
Not much, just I actually just finished the first episode of The Winter King.
So, what did you think about the Winter King? First,
Um I think it's a mixed bag. I think I saw some good stuff. I saw some stuff I wasn't a huge fan of. But I don't I get, we were talking about Merlin and all that, and I get kind of not liking the character or the actor, but I didn't think he was too bad. He seemed
he wasn't bad. He's a little miscast. I think, one of the scenes jumped out at me. There's a scene where they're walking out of the castle at Kadarn or Uther's castle, which
yeah.
is really cool because you see a lot of shows
Mhm.
where they're in the medieval times, and if you think about the Arthurian myth, it's between like 550 AD. It's in that
Yeah.
range, and if you think about the pre-Saxon wars, of what ultimately became Brittany. What's up, Mattuine? Um, the castle of Uther, I thought it was pretty realistic. Like you had, it reminded me of Lord of the Rings when he said, "Light the fires, and the kingdom, will
Yep.
know." And so I thought the way that they built it looked really cool and appropriate. I thought the beginning scenes that was really violent, and his son Mordred and what happened to him with Arthur, who was a bastard.
Yeah.
Um, I liked all that. I'm always looking at, when I look at things like this. What's up, Star Wars Marvel purist? How's your mom doing? So I'm always looking at haircuts. I'm looking at
Yeah.
costumes,
Mhm.
and I'm looking at. I don't want cheesy lines. I want it to be violent and brutal, and which is what those times were, right? The dark age.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I thought that they didn't nail that, but I do think that they did okay enough to keep me watching for the next few episodes. So like I thought there were some casting choices that I liked. I liked um Durfel, who for people that read the books, he chronicles the story of Arthur against the wishes of the religious order, because Arthur was a pagan. And we see the child and then it skips. I like the casting of Arthur so far.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm not sold yet on Merlin. I hope that they I hope that they he's going to grow into that role. I hope they didn't cast him just from a diversity standpoint. I think that doesn't do justice to the actor or to anybody of color when you cast someone that doesn't fit, but it's just what's a checkbox. I don't like it. I don't
I
think it helps
agree.
anybody. But I don't know yet. I'm not out on him as Merlin. But there's a scene when he's walking out of the castle, and I believe he's talking to Morgan. Right? Was it Morgan? And she says, "What did you see? What was your
Oh,
vision?"
yeah.
And
No, it's Human,
oh, was
the
it?
freckled girl.
Oh, so it's Nimue, who
Nimue, yes.
you know who she becomes, right?
Uh, from the I haven't read those books.
I'm gonna go
Um,
ahead. Listen, we don't have a lot of people in here yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it away.
yeah.
Nimue, I believe, is the Lady of the Lake.
Oh.
So I got two things that I'm not sold on yet with the Winter King, and that is the casting choice. We're talking Avenger about the Winter King that is going to be on MGM streaming. I don't know what it's going to be on in the UK, but it came out. The first episode was just released on Amazon Prime here in the States for free. So it's the Cornwall books, right? The Cornwall.
Yeah, Brendan Carnwell, something like that.
Yeah, it's the Winter King. It's a more of a real. I say realistic. Venger, did you like Vikings? Everybody, let me know in the chat who liked Vikings.
I haven't seen it yet.
I think that this is no Game of Thrones, at least not in the first episode. But then again, Game of Thrones wasn't Game of Thrones in the first episode, but
Yeah, but Game of Thrones had Ned Stark.
it did. And you know what, Bernard Cornwell, yeah.
Yes, who the guy that
Hardcore
wrote
wrote.
Sharp? Yes, Finger.
He wrote The Winter King, and that's what this is based on. So it's a series of books, but from the 90s. So, but I do think, what's up, Breezy's Comics? We're gonna go for an hour tonight. We're not going long, but I understand if you got to duck out. I am gonna be giving something away. I'll tell you one thing I'm giving away, not anything major, but I found a second one of what I had, so I'm gonna give this one away. It's the Shadows of the Empire in honor of Ahsoka, and the fact that we're gonna get what I call, we had the MCU and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're now gonna have She Wars with all the females of Ahsoka and no males. So I went back to the Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. This is Leia in the Bush outfit when she unfreezes Han from the carbonite. So I'm going to give this away tonight. So, what I would say about Winter King is the guy who plays Arthur at the very beginning of the episode when his hair's longer. I don't know. I'm not going to say I got a Ned Stark vibe, but he sold me on, okay, this guy, his face was bloody. They've lost a battle. I felt more like Vikings than I did Game of Thrones first episode, because with Game of Thrones first episode, if you think about it, we knew there was magic, the White Walker, the violence of that. Then we saw Ned and the scene of the direwolf. So those scenes had me going, man, this is very interesting. Whereas with the Winter King, you see that Merlin has visions, but that's all you see. Any other magic. But you see, what I think was really cool was you see a small town version of Avalon.
Yeah.
So with a tower. That was pretty cool.
So did you ever see the movie The Immortals?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. You remember the mask that what's the actor that played the bad guy? He plays the bad guy in the second Iron Man movie.
Oh gosh. Well, Mickey Rourke was the bad guy in the second.
Yeah, Mickey Rourke. So Mickey Rourke is the bad guy. Yeah, he's the bad guy in Immortals.
You know what? Golly, I forgot all about that. Mickey Rourke was the bad guy in Iron Man.
So that mask he wore, the fencing protective looking mask, the creature in Merlin's dream is wearing a very similar, or Vision is wearing a very similar mask.
They lead you to believe that's Mordred.
Yeah.
And if they do that, I don't know who here has seen Excalibur. As a kid, one of my favorite movies. Excalibur was one step below Empire Strikes Back and Raiders of the Lost Ark. I had those movies, and then Excalibur was right behind it. I think it was 1981. And I think it may have been Liam Neeson's first movie. He had a small part in it. Excalibur, Mordred had the gold mask. And I will never forget that as a kid. I was watching that, like, kill him, Arthur. And there's a scene in Excalibur where they finally face off, and it's the end battle. Arthur has come back, and gotten the knights who's left gathered together for one last ride. And you see the fog clearing, and they've won the battle, but Mordred is still there, and he basically standing there with his sword, and he says, "Let us embrace." And it was great. It was great. But
what do you think of Merlin?
Patrick Stewart was in that movie. Gabriel Byrne. They were all sitting around the table, everybody getting drunk, and Helen Mirren was Morgan. No, she wasn't Morgan Le Fay. Who did Helen Mirren play in Excalibur? Was she Morgan Le Fay? No,
I think she might have been Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah. Gabriel Byrne played Uther. Yeah, at the very beginning when she was Morgan Le Fay. God, I have to go back and watch it. She was so young that she looked completely different. Yeah,
she'd have to be, unless she played the Lady of the Lake. She'd have to be Morgan Le Fay.
Well, the Lady of the Lake was just under the water. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Helen Mirren. I have to go back and watch that.
Morgana.
Once I thought about it, I realized that she did play Morgan Le Fay.
Oh, and Cherie Lungi was in it. She played Guinevere.
Dude, when they played the music at the end, when they're going through the land to battle, and as Arthur's riding for the last time, the land is all the flowers are blooming and the land is turning green again. Oh, it's badass, man. If you haven't watched Excalibur, get it in 4K. Do the Robert Meyer Burnett thing. Which
I need to rewatch it. I haven't watched it in
I'm gonna
probably
hold this
10 years.
I'm gonna hold this Excalibur discussion because I got a message yesterday. I have a guest coming on who is the expert in the 4K releases of some of these things, and he's got a few nicknames. One of them is the Viceroy of Verisimilitude. So I'm excited that I'm going to have this guest on. I'll put a thumbnail up hopefully this week. We're going to work out the day and time, but he's agreed to come on, and so I'm excited about that. We're gonna get into a little bit of Excalibur when he comes on, but yeah, Winter King. Before we segue into Ahsoka, the Winter King is I'm going to stick around. I'm going to watch you guys in chat. You've got it right. You've got it right. So he's agreed to come on, and we're gonna work out the day and time, and we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna talk about digital media, which he is an expert on. We're gonna talk about movies and how they used to be made and what's gone wrong, and can it be saved? Can it be brought back to post strike to where it needs to be? So we're going to talk about a lot of things. And by the way, I haven't done this in a while, but now that we're going through the whole monetization of the channel and all that, we're going to be doing a lot of different things, a lot of cool things. And this is just one of the T-shirts that I've got. If you guys can see it, my Sundowners shirt. So if you guys can get a good shot of that. So I've got different shirts. Some are in blue. This one's kind of have a purple of the logo. We've got the V-necks for those that don't like the shirt right up on your neck, and then we have just the regular tees, and then we're gonna have hoodies.
Ooh.
So what we're gonna do is once we start doing memberships, everybody's gonna get a choice of T-shirt, and if we do another level or whatever, they'll get hoodies. The hoodies are really cool. I think Sterling and I have worn them a couple of times, but I've probably got like 60 or so of them in boxes, the T-shirts. And they're really good, like soft. It's really good. So we're gonna be doing that soon. So be looking for some of the merch that'll be given out to people. So ask RMB about his interview with Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee's amazing. I always remember him. And then of course Lord of the Rings, and Count Dooku. But yeah, so the Winter King, all I would say as we wrap up, we're going to transition to Ahsoka, is they haven't lost me. I'm in it. I want to see where it goes. It again, I'm not sold on the character playing Merlin. The scene of him walking out of the castle, it was such a heavy potential moment and a dark moment of what did you see? And he should have stopped and stared and taken a second for the gravity of what his vision was, and then stared into her eyes and been more, a little bit more darker and slow with his delivery. But instead he's walking and he's like, boom, 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 boom. He's telling her everything, and it didn't work for me. And I don't know if that's the actor or if that's, if that's the direction. I don't know. So there were things I liked about it. I do agree with you, Caleb. It's a mixed bag, but I do like that they're on location. I like that they, they only have a few characters that are wearing costumes that look clean, and I don't like it when you're dealing with the Middle Ages and everybody's clean cut, and it takes me out of the story because that's not reality. So I give it a 5 or 6.
I'm leaning towards about 6.5.
Yeah, 6.
There's some stuff that I would have liked to see, but I didn't see anything that I was like, nope, I'm out. Nope. I didn't see any of that. The only thing that I saw that I noticed, and usually when I watch something for the first time, I'm not like glued to it. I'll be kind of, texting someone or, maybe Googling something, but I noticed this, and it's in the end scene when he's taking his shower, basically getting the blood when Arthur is getting the blood off. He's got his sword on,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't have had your sword on because by then they knew that iron oxidized, and they would not have had their sword in water.
Yeah.
So that was the
Yeah.
only thing that I was like, this is like the only weird costuming that I've seen.
Yeah.
But everything else, yeah, it's dark. It's a darker tale. It does a lot of kind of what I wish Merlin had done. That 2000 show with the BBC. It gets a little into the darker
Yeah.
area of um the paganism versus the Christianity aspect of what Britain would have been going through at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of those stories around it lose me. That Merlin series lost me, and
Really?
I'm very picky about King Arthur stuff.
Oh, no, I am too. I look,
I want to see. That's why I love Game of Thrones, because
yeah.
Game of Thrones went on location and they went to these sites and they came to life, right? And
Mhm.
that's what Arthur is.
Yeah.
Arthur is mythology. Whether it was one person or a combination of people and his character in history, Arthur, you you have to honor the lore of it, and you have to bring in crews of people and go location in Ireland and Scotland and England and Wales, and you have to find the locations that work. You have to
Mhm.
have casting that works and be true to the time. And so anyway, I want to answer one because we're gonna get into House of the Dragon. You know what? I'm gonna do House of the Dragon before Ahsoka, because Venger has a comment in the chat, and I want to address it because I've seen it and I haven't covered it. Um, so Venger's chat says, I assume you've seen the news that season 2 of House of the Dragon has hired a transgender actress to play. Can't remember the name. My point being, the media sites make a heavy emphasis on the transgender aspect, instead of just having the casting. Here's the person who's playing the role. And so two parts to that. One, um, the person is playing a member of House Frey, I believe. And two, I
Oh,
agree with
yay.
you. I agree with you that why announce the gender status, right? Just cast the person, let them. It's similar to Emma Darcy playing Rhaenyra. We don't need to know anything about Emma Darcy's life. We just need to see the show, and if they preach to you, if they lecture you, if there's identity politics in it, if they get away from the story, we're going to know it. And in season 1 of House of the Dragon, they didn't. They Emma Darcy did a great job to me playing Rhaenyra. I don't care. I don't give two shits what she does in her regular life. You know, don't lecture people and do be stupid in interviews. Do the best job you can, and you'll bring in fans. And she's done that. I mean, I haven't heard anybody complain about Rhaenyra in House of the Dragon. She did
Yeah,
a great
no, I don't think
and
anyone
so
has.
and so the person that's been cast, I think they do them a disservice when the media sites pick up on this. But the media sites that that they're just they're going for clicks. They're going for clicks. They put things in a title, and they know that people are going to have an opinion one way or the other about it, and it's unfortunate because, again, at the end of the day, just like with and we'll talk briefly about Blue Beetle before we get done tonight. You know, I understand that it's important to say that this is a Latino Hispanic cast and this lead character, and it's important to say that Greta Gerwig is the top grossing female director in history. I understand that. But when you lead with every story that's a focus on that, people get turned off because they feel like, where's the focus on story? Do we need to
Mhm.
be told that everybody in this is this culture, or that this person is transgender? No, just cast them in the role. I watched The Peripheral when we first started our channel. It didn't get very many views. I liked the show a little bit better than Sterling did, my co-host. But they had a transgender person in the show. And it worked. I didn't know before I watched the show. They didn't announce it because it wasn't a big name show. And for that story, it worked. Who cares? Tell me a good story, and I don't care about the rest. And I think most people are that way. It's what people hate hypocrisy, and I don't care what part of the world you live in. People do not like hypocrites, and that's pretty universal. And people don't like to be lectured to. It's amazing that that's a universal thing, right? People don't
Right.
to be lectured to. And we talk about it with, American ideas, exported throughout the world. The way people react to that in other parts of the world. We talk about other parts of the world doing that with Americans, and people don't like to be lectured to about how they live or what they're interested in, what they want to watch, what they want to listen to. And so, just cast a person and tell the story. I don't need to know the rest. But anyway, so that's my 2 cents on that. So while we're at that, let's. I've got a video coming out tomorrow, and I want to show you guys a little bit of an update on one of the few things that's being filmed right now, which is House of the Dragon. And let me get on here so you can see a couple of things. And I'm probably keeping you guys from watching my video when it comes out tomorrow because some of this will be covered. But I'm going to stream tonight because we have a small audience, and who cares?
Kristen
So
Cole.
So can you guys see my screen? Okay.
I see it.
Yeah. So, House of the Dragon season 2 films Rook's Rest, the Battle of Rook's Rest with Kristen Cole and Gawain Hightower. So, there's not clear shots of Fabian Frankel, who plays Sir Kristen Cole, but the understanding is that he's got short hair this season. And so there he is. And they're filming in Bourne Woods, Surrey, and it's around Rook's Rest, and so let me Caleb, let me know that when I hit continue reading here that you guys can continue to see the screen. Can you continue?
Yeah.
To see it? So Gawain Hightower has also been spotted, and he will be played by Freddie Fox. And for those that don't know, Gawain is the brother of Alicent. He's got red hair, and he's the youngest son of. And by the way, go follow Unbox PhD on Twitter. Unbox PhD has great footage and there's a shot of Freddie Fox behind the trees, and there's a shot of that's the guy that was in the Tower of Joy. Plays Eddie plays Gerald Hightower, but he was also in the Tower of Joy scenes in the original Game of Thrones. So he's playing
that's right.
He's actually playing a great grandfather, maybe.
Then maybe Nikki can get what she wants and get the Viserys actor to come back to House of the Dragon.
That may happen, according to Nikki's. They're doing it. They've cast Eddie here to play an older version of the family member from previous generations. So here's some shots. This is what I love. This is what I want. The things that we love, like Star Wars, to do. Think about Star Wars. They're in Tunisia on location in the desert. They're in Norway for Hoth. They're in Northern California around Muir Woods, right? The Redwood Forest, right? For Endor. And go on location. Now, Andor did some of that in season 1. And that's one of the things I did like about Andor. For the sci-fi stuff, we don't need to be inundated with 30 minutes of the volume and everything looking fake. And that's one of the things I've heard already about Ahsoka. The people that have seen it is it a little cartoonish looking. Everything doesn't need a background that's just fake blue screen. Like, that's what I love about Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon is, of course, it's medieval, so they're going on these locations, but you can do this with science fiction. I mean, it can be done. So
isn't that new show they were talking about on EBN like 3 weeks ago?
I don't know if I can play any clips here.
What's it called?
You guys can see the carts here and the really cool stuff. And there's There's the director of episode 4, Alan Taylor, who
With the
directed.
Greens Targaryen.
Yep. And so Alan Taylor, that gives me hope that Rook's Rest is going to be a great, great episode. Episode 4, which we've already talked about. We expected that would be Rook's Rest. And these are some great shots. I love the tents and the setups. Some good stuff. So, I wanted to show that. We know what's going to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big battle that's going to take place, and for the first time since Game of Thrones, we're going to see dragons fall. And we're not going to say who, we're not going to say what people and what dragons, but Rook's Rest is going to be a battle of casualties and death, and it's going to be a big moment in season 2. So Venture, Fabian Frankel I haven't seen anything that's confirmed Fabian Frankel for season 3. But I know what you're saying. You're saying based on where Rook's Rest, the Battle of Rook's Rest in episode 4 in season 2. Yeah. So could be. I'm going to read a couple of these comments because we've got some loyal people in here. I really appreciate you guys joining us. I knew we wouldn't have a big turnout tonight because we haven't done a whole lot of streams to begin with, and we've been wildly inconsistent due to work schedules. And last night I had audio delay issues. And how is my audio going in terms of the video? Is it not too
Sounds
bad,
great.
everybody?
On my end, it sounds great.
Yeah, there was delays last night, and then I know people were watching a couple other streams and that ran long, and then I had my youngest child got 101.5 fever, so I had a lot of stuff going on. Sterling was out of town in Arkansas and was delayed.
Delayed.
Yeah, he was delayed, which means he was having a good time. So I think we're going to try to be more consistent. I keep saying that, and it seems like it doesn't happen on the streams. It's like we go one night, and it's just tough because I work about 50 hours a week, and Sterling works about 40, and then raising kids. Sterling has a second one on the way, and I've got 2 boys, so it's a lot of stuff going on. But we're going to try to do at least do either just consistently Wednesday or Thursday from now on. And if we can do a second stream weekly, we're going to do it. But my goal is to try to do a Wednesday or Thursday stream, and then do 2 videos. So we got one out this week, and we just had a delay in the other video, which will come out tomorrow. But so anyway, House of Dragon season 2. There's been a lot of filming around Rook's Rest, and if you look at George R. R. Martin's comments from a few weeks ago, about a month ago, where he said that they were a little more than halfway done filming. I think they're further along than that now. But hey, Daisy Blossom, glad to have you here. Yeah. So anyway, what are your thoughts, Caleb? Rook's Rest, the filming, the location shots you've seen. Are you following a lot of it online?
I don't follow a lot of it. I for a couple of reasons. One, you just mentioned it sounded like you were saying Fabian won't be seen after episode 4, and I was sitting there trying to remember. I'm pretty sure we should see him later. So one of the reasons I try not to follow a lot of them is because while I know kind of the overarching story, there's little things that I don't remember. And so not following those things sometimes helps in the surprise of when the episode comes out. But there's some things that you just can't help but see. I do the photos that he had on there, it looks really good. One of the things I love seeing is I love seeing the extras and the actors in their armor sitting down, because what it means is that it was designed correctly. because they would have been able to sit down in that stuff. There's these little things that you don't really notice, but when you can see that they're able to do, A, B, or C in the stuff, well, that means that they've done it correctly. So it's going to come out on screen even better. I love
Right.
seeing that. The what was it? It looked like a charge. There were photos of the forces lined up. It looked like they were getting ready to charge, something like that.
Yeah.
That looked great. Obviously, we know that the size of the forces are a little bit bigger, so they'll probably be using massive or something to add to the background. But it worked in 2002 when Peter Jackson did it, so I'm sure it'll work today.
Yeah, and during the Battle of Rook's Rest, he's commander of the Kingsguard, right? And
he's Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. He's
and
also
he's got a new
Hand to the
title.
King.
I'm not going to say he's got a new title by that time.
Oh.
I'm not going to say.
Okay, I almost said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but there's
does
more.
he have the new title because the other person isn't there anymore, or is he just been replaced?
Been replaced.
Yeah. So the person that had the title previously is still alive, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just, again, couldn't remember.
Yeah. Yeah. He. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. It's
like in the story, not in reality.
Yeah. In the story, he. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm really excited to see that. I'm excited to see
You have to think
a
about
dragon fall
series.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, did you guys see my Targaryen glass? I don't have a beer in it.
I've got my this might be Middle Earth, I think.
So
yeah, mine's Middle Earth.
So Mars Needs Max will be getting their glass, which is Targaryen, the Stark glass on Wednesday, and Gatekeeper's Daimyo. Neither one of the two are here tonight. He gets his on Thursday, so he got the map of Westeros, and so I have another one coming that's Essos. So map. So they're good. They're good glasses. I wonder if you freeze them or have them cold, how they'll hold up. But the engraving's pretty good. So this is Targaryen. I don't know if you guys
I'm impressed
with
with how well they did.
You guys can see that. Pretty good. So if you get a chance to go online and find them, they're pretty cool. And second thing I'm going to give away tonight is from HBO, Hand of the King, and I've got one right here. So pretty cool. It's heavy too. So whoever gets it, so I'm going to give away two things tonight. Not anything major, but two decent things, right?
Absolutely.
So Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire in the case, from 1996, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I think it's 96.
I think you're right. Yes, I think I was looking that up the other day for something.
Almost 28 years old. And anyway, and then Hand of the Kingpin. So we'll give away two of these before we get out of here. So okay, the big news Tuesday, we've got Ahsoka.
96.
96. There you go. So 24 years old. And looks pretty good.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. So Ahsoka comes out Tuesday. First thing we'll talk about, how's everybody feel about the fact that after like 4 years, they finally what's up? How do we feel about after 4 years, these idiots at Disney Plus finally decided to put a series out at a time of the evening where people can watch it.
Not only that, after Game of Thrones, you've been watching Game of Thrones since it started coming out, correct?
Oh yeah, since
Okay.
2011.
So Monday morning after the first episode, how many people did you talk to about it?
Yeah, I was at work. It was water cooler.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
The next episode,
nobody had seen it but me and one other person. And then
going through the next decade, how many times Monday morning? Oh my God, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was by season 3 in the Red Wedding. It was a phenomenon.
Yeah, it was an event, and Disney has been crapping on themselves for 4 years by not making their stuff an event.
Yeah, and I always thought that what would be really cool. Do you remember? I don't know if we'll date ourselves with our ages. But, when you would watch HBO on Friday night and then something new would come out, it would at 7 p.m. the new movie or the release or whatever, you'd see that HBO logo, dun-dun-dun, and it would flash, it would spin around or move, and it would show you like the cityscape, and it would go into the movie, right?
Yeah.
I always loved that, sitting with my parents and watching whatever was coming out, right? And it was usually, it may have been something that wasn't even out at the video store yet, because the video rental had not really taken off yet. It was just kind of starting. Well, Disney Plus needs to do that. They need to have, like, on Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Central, whatever time zones, they need to have Disney Plus with the castle or the Disney, whatever they're going to do, and just have that logo, have it go away, and then have the Lucasfilm logo flash across the screen. And I know they want to hold the 20th Century Fox stuff and all that. I know that things have changed because Disney owns them now, but like have something iconic to where you're pumped up when it hits, because a lot of these series don't have the crawl. And I know what's on the beginning of Ahsoka, so I'm not giving that away, but like they need to have an intro where people are like, you're there, it's 8 o'clock, and you're like, I'm pumped. This is, you go right into it. And so at least they're finally getting the time right.
People need to be sitting there on the phone at 8:45 going, hey dude, I gotta go. This is about to start. I gotta go. It's time to watch. That's what I did. I'd be on the phone with a friend of mine a Sunday at 8:45. I'd say, hey Ryan, I have to go. House of the Dragon starting. Goodbye. And I'd hang up on him.
And oh, by the way, I want to say one thing, because we get a lot of views after the video or streams have been out for a day or two. And so for those that aren't watching, for those that are, everybody go, not that they need it, but go check out Echo Base Network. Coach did a great job the other day. One of the things he said that I 100% agree with, that we all don't say enough when we talk about the things we like and then we criticize things, is that, yes, we're going to talk about it because that's why we have channels and that's why we have a community, and it's communication about what we think about things. That's just part of it. But nobody's opinion on the early reviews matters. If you're a fan of Ahsoka, like I heard someone say the other day, I'm so excited for Ahsoka. You absolutely should be. Go into it. What somebody on YouTube or somebody on Hollywood Reporter or Variety, or nobody's opinion matters if you love it. And that's what it's all about. Like, I mean, I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, and there were parts of season 7 that I loved. There were parts of season 6 that I absolutely will go to the mat over. And I had people go, oh, it sucked after George was gone after season 5 and season 6 was, well, okay, that's your opinion. I get it. I'm not arguing with anybody about what they like or don't like. But Ahsoka, I don't feel great about it right now because I feel like I've been burned. But do I want it to be great? Absolutely, I want it to be great. Do I want to see Luke? Yes, I want to see Luke. Do I want to see a more emotional side of Ahsoka, and I want to see that moment with Anakin in some form or fashion? Yes. And so I hope they get it right. And it doesn't mean that if I end up not liking it, that somebody else isn't going to love it. And I've heard so many people that have come out with their, they're not really giving reviews or just giving, because they can't really say anything due to the embargo. But
Right.
there's, well, if you watched Rebels, you're going to really like it. If you liked Rebels, and if you don't like Rebels, you might be confused. Well, that's their opinion. I guarantee you, we're going to have people that have never watched Rebels that really like Ahsoka, and we're going to have people that watched Rebels that don't like Ahsoka, and so my fear is that we're in a place right now due to, if you look at the financials of these companies, where if Ahsoka is not a hit, and what I mean by hit is that when you see those Nielsen charts, the minutes, it's all about the reason why they're releasing two. This is one thing I think I feel confident saying, to dispel some garbage that's been put out there. There's been people that have said, well, they had to release 2 episodes because the first episode, it's wouldn't stand on its own, or people, they needed a second episode. No, they're doing that because they measure these things now by minutes watched.
Yeah.
So if they can put out more on the front end, it gives them a little bit of wind behind the ship, right? And they can get.
So this is the thing about how Disney Plus works, and I honestly I don't really get. There are people that will start talking about the minutes, but they never dive into this, and it's kind of the sneaky thing that Disney does that Netflix, Prime, and HBO Max don't do. So when a TV show starts on Netflix, and you have it's an intro show. Let's use Friends for example, since we all know what Friends looks like. So you have the cold open, then you have the 32-second song, and then you have the rest of the episode. The first note of that song, the skip intro song button pops up, and you can click it and skip, and that counts off 32 seconds from the click. And then on when the episode's starting to wind down, when there's like 5 seconds left, the skip or the go to next episode button pops up as well, and it is on a 5-second timer, so you don't have to watch credits. What Disney Plus does is they put the skip buttons about 5 seconds into the theme songs, so that you're not paying attention anymore. And then they start the countdown for the next episode about 20 seconds into the credits, so that you have to be in the like French credits for the thing to come up. So it's a shady game they're playing.
Yeah. What's up, Damio?
What was his name?
So you see my Ahsoka here. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Coach may have known this, but so I've got Hot Toys $240 Ahsoka unopened, right? And I've said this a couple of times. I'm gonna say it again for people that missed the stream and watch it later. If you go on Echo Base Network and you go on X-Wing, the Star Wars channels, I'll put Star Wars Theory in there. It's going to be consistent. If this show does not do well, it's going to be the same thing that was said about Obi-Wan. I'm talking about consensus. I'm not talking about one person. I'm talking about, we're going to know if when Obi-Wan came out and didn't do well, Star Wars Theory said it, Echo Base Network said it, X-Wing said it, all the Star Wars
said it.
Yeah. So if this show does well, I'm giving this away. I'm going to find a good way to do it and a fair way to do it, but this is being given away unopened. If it doesn't do well, I'm keeping it, because that means they won't make any more Ahsoka toys, and this will be worth more if they're not making any more.
Yeah,
that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. But so I hope it does well. I want to give that away, and
I want it too. I want it to be really good. I mean, how awesome would it be in how many episodes? 6, 7 episodes?
8 episodes. And I want to talk about that because Star Wars Marvel Purist said something about being the problem. I want to show this.
Yeah.
Star Wars Marvel Purist, you're absolutely right. The problem is that there are only 68 episodes to release. 2 or 3 on the front end is pretty lame. It's different if it's a 13 episode season or at least 1 hour episodes. You're absolutely right. I don't know why they haven't changed that model. I don't know why they've done that. Star Wars Marvel purist. I don't know if Coach has seen this. I went through my stack of I've got like probably 600 figures carded from the green and the orange powers of the Force, all the episode 1. I'm not giving away any of my vintage Kenner 12 back and Empire and Return of the Jedi. I'm not moving those. But I found a second one of these. I've got 2 of them. So I'm going to give away this tonight. It's the 1996 Shadows of the Empire, Leia Shadows. So in the bush, am I pronouncing that right? The bush
Boosh.
outfit. And then for my Game of Thrones people, this thing is really heavy. It's HBO official Hand of the King pen. It's really cool. It's in the box. I've got one right here. It's real heavy. You know, it could be a weapon. It's pointing. You know, you can put it between your.
There
You
you
live in
go.
an area or town, you can stab somebody with it. I'm not giving away my Goonies map and my Goonies key.
Oh, never.
So yeah, I don't know why. My concern is if I talked to someone the other day, and my co-host is kind of like this. Like I just want it to be done. Like I want them to fail, and then the leadership's gone, and they bring somebody else in. The problem with that is if it goes bad, we already know that the studios are going to cut back, right? So I don't know how much in the future we're going to see for the next 3 to 4 years, or maybe longer, that Disney's going to spend $200 million on a series. I don't think they're going to do it again anytime soon. I don't care what the ratings are of Ahsoka. I have questions about that. They've also, if you saw in one of my previous streams, they've pulled Skeleton Crew has no release date. They pulled it from the schedule.
Yep.
So, doesn't mean they won't get a new date. Doesn't mean there may be some things with the strikes that they have to do. But my concern as a person that wants to see Star Wars, doing well, is that if it does poorly, that not only are you battling up current against 2 questions for people wanting Star Wars to burn to the ground. Go ahead, Coach. Is you're battling up current to get that money to spend on the series. You're not, one who can afford it. Well, first of all, Disney's not selling Lucasfilm. That's not happening. I mean, we all know the licensing alone. You've got video games. You've got. I don't care. People say that they're not selling as much merch. They're not selling Lucasfilm. So I think for Lucasfilm, we don't know what the company. If think about Apple before Steve Jobs came back, Steve Jobs had burned so many bridges when he first ran out of Apple the first time. He had a massive ego. Wozniak didn't really want to work with him anymore. There were so many things going on. They bring in the guy that was the Pepsi guy, and they end up removing him from Apple. Well, Apple then almost goes bankrupt. They were literally 2 months away from bankruptcy. Like they were in trouble. And Steve Jobs goes and finds himself and builds up a couple of companies and sells one of them to Disney. He had Pixar, and he ends up coming back to Apple, and they were in bad shape, and nobody knew the answer for Apple. And people would have said, well, Steve Jobs is definitely not the answer, but he came back and he was the answer. And so we don't know yet. We've all talked about this. When there is change, and there will be change with Lucasfilm, we don't know what it's going to look like. It could be worse. It could be better. We don't know. So it's going to be a lot of content for the content creators when those announcements are made about what the leadership looks like and how it's going to be. So we'll see. But
what if David Zaslav went to fix Disney?
Has David Zaslav proven he can fix Warner?
Well,
he's hated.
When did he start there?
What, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago?
Oh, has it only been that long? Okay.
Well, he can't
so
even.
Then House of the Dragons had not really his baby then.
Yeah, and look, I'm a fan of James Gunn, but he's got to tell James Gunn to get off Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Like
Well,
engaging.
the reason I say that is, or I guess the previous guy. Oh no, it's not David's that I'm thinking of. It's who's in charge of HBO. That's the person
Casey
that.
Bloys. Casey
Yeah,
Bloys.
that's the person that.
Casey Bloys. Thanks, Coach. Thanks
See
for
you,
stopping.
dude.
We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, Casey Bloys is one person who I think could do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, because
Casey
that's
Bloys,
what's so crazy.
that
So
took guts. Think about the guts it took to film and spend $30 million on that pilot for The Long Night with Naomi
Mhm.
Watts for Game of Thrones. And he sees it and he shelves it, says,
yeah.
good enough.
Mhm.
That
Well,
takes
what's crazy?
that
I
took
mean,
guts.
HBO spent about 6 million, yeah, I think it was about 6 million an episode for the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones, and then I think it went to
Yeah.
10 for like 6 and 7, and then 15 or 20 for the final season.
Yeah. And they spent on the pilot though with Naomi Watts.
Yeah, so $6 million. They spent $60 million on the first season, the second season, third season, and fourth season, and fifth season of Game of Thrones. Marvel spent like $25 million an episode for Loki.
Yeah.
Here's the question. This is the question that the world needs answered. Not I don't care about all these other things going on. I want to know, where's this money going?
You know what I want to see? I want to see him spend less money. I wish someone would sit in a boardroom and I'm gonna pull up a site here. I want to go back to Ahsoka for just a second, but
Mhm.
in just a minute. But I want to see them remove some of that spend and say, you know what? And this is just an example. I want to see the boy from Iron Man 3 that Tony Stark funded all his stuff, that showed up as a teenager. He'd grown up a little bit, right? He was at Tony's. I want to see a series where you don't have to spend a lot of money, but the potential buildup of this kid that's now could be like 20, 21
Mhm.
is a new potential Tony Stark, because the kid's a wizard and Tony saw that in him in the third movie and funded him, remember? And he showed up. If you look at the scene of Tony's funeral when they're outside the cabin,
Yep.
he's there. The
Yeah,
actor
yeah.
who played him.
Yeah.
But he's grown up, he's gotten taller. And like I'd love to see him do that. But
No, they're doing Ironheart.
yeah,
They want
yeah,
to do what's her
just
name that steals everything.
let me share my screen real quick because we're talking about Ahsoka, and this is my biggest question about what I think is the biggest challenge, not to the what I would call the rabid Star Wars fans, but to the general audience, the larger audience that you need to get big numbers, right?
Right.
So this is Movie Web. They have some articles that are okay, others that are not. Martin Cantit says, Ahsoka's face. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Says Ahsoka's facing one major challenge ahead of the premiere. And it talks about, amidst one of the most important crises Disney's faced in a long time. They talk about Ahsoka set to premiere, and her own show is sure to tie in with the Mandalorian. Even though this is not the first time audiences have seen Ahsoka in action, the character holds a special place in the Star Wars universe. And so, be that as it may, most people followed the story exclusively through the movies, making everything that happened outside of them either accessory or less important. While this argument might apply to many characters, Ahsoka is a special one, as she is none other than the only Padawan that the soon-to-become Darth Vader managed to train. Therefore, Ahsoka faces quite a challenge if it wants to succeed. Where does Ahsoka come from? You and I know where she comes from, but the general audience does not. The series Rebels gave Ahsoka more backstory. So it talks about the Clone Wars, but not everybody's seen the Clone Wars. The general audience is not. And then it talks about Rebels, where there's more backstory and context to Ahsoka. And that's why you see people saying, well, if you watched these Clone Wars episodes and John Kakaza had a good list of the ones to watch, watch Rebels, you'll be ready. But a lot of the audience doesn't work like that. The mass audience, to get, an audience on par with The Last of Us and House of the Dragon, and not even going to try to put pressure on them to be, like some of the shows like Squid Game and Stranger Things and what's the character of from Adam's Family? Wednesday. I mean, those are huge numbers that I don't think Ahsoka's, because people don't know the background. They didn't watch these things. So what do you think about that? Do you think they can overcome, and this talks about and I'll get your thoughts first, and then I'll cover this last piece of the article, because I think this is an important question for the success of the show, which is all about minutes watched and the ratings. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how it's measured.
I absolutely think it can overcome this obstacle, because honestly, I don't think the obstacle exists. I think plenty of people have watched Clone Wars, plenty of people have watched Rebels, and the only reason this show is happening is because of The Mandalorian. And if they didn't have the numbers of the viewers for season 2 and Book of Boba Fett, this show wouldn't be going forward. I know we like to say that, clearly they just love spending money, because obviously I'm looking at this article that says Andor costs $15 to $25 million an episode. And so clearly they do. But there's a reason all this other stuff that they said they were going to make isn't being made, because there was no interest. But there's clearly an interest for Ahsoka. And whether it's I'm going to use the G word, the grifting interest that all of us apparently have, or the fandom interest that the weird Chinese guy that dressed up as Ahsoka has, whether it's all the way there or all the way to the other, or somewhere in the middle, there's an interest in this. I'm interested in this. Do I think it's going to be, back to episode 16? No. Chapter 16? No. But I think this is going to be a solid 6.5. There's going to be moments that are 7, maybe even getting up to 8. If we see Luke Skywalker, we're going to be happy. We're going to be annoyed when we only see him for like 3 or 4 minutes, but we'll be happy. We'll have that moment where we're like, maybe they don't hate us. And then, we'll get an article in 3 weeks that says they just decided to do this to appease us.
So, and I'll stop sharing it. So you think that the audience that you said watch Clone Wars and watch Rebels is a big enough audience to put the show top 5, top 4 on the charts and put up
to chart it?
Because that's what I'm talking about, ratings. I'm talking about how we will, fans, from a review standpoint. I'm talking about the only thing that's going to make them gain some momentum, which is ratings.
So the only problem with charting is, NCIS is still charting on Netflix, but that's because it has 400 episodes. So
but what that is, Caleb, to the streaming providers, amongst all the other things that don't make money, that's money.
Right. Yeah. So
money.
I think Ahsoka will chart, because to my knowledge, and I haven't really paid attention to a lot of stuff, but I don't know anything else that's coming out right now. Is this not like one of the only things that's coming out right now?
For Disney Plus?
For anyone. So like when last year, when
you've got stuff coming out, constantly coming out.
So last year when Rings of Power stopped charting, Rings of Power stopped charting in like episode 3.
Yeah.
And that was partly blamed because there were like 8 other TV shows of a good caliber coming out at the same time. Amazon had another show that came out like 2 weeks after Rings of Power started. House of the Dragon was coming out. I think Netflix had a show that was coming out. But right now, I don't think. I mean, let's see. Netflix. I'm not logged in. Never mind.
So let me read Damio's comment real quick because this ties in. So Damio says it's the same problem they had with the sequel trilogy. Gaps on the story filled in by other media that the majority won't read or watch. That's all. I agree with that. It a wider audience. Your script has to be so good if you're going to not depend on them watching the prior content and to get those huge numbers. Like there are a whole lot of people that never watched Addams Family that watched Wednesday because it hit an age demographic and it was so quirky and it's done so well that there are people that are like, I got to go back and watch the Addams, some of this other stuff. There's people that never knew Christina Ricci played Wednesday, that now are now have exposed to the Addams Family lore. And so to Damio, and you have to have it. The writing has to be so good that people go, you know what? I don't know anything about this Ezra or these characters, but I love this. Now I got to go back and watch. And I think there will be people that will do that. The question is the writing going to be good enough in this, and the dialogue and the investment in these characters to have enough of the people that didn't watch any of that to step up to make this the hit it needs to be? And then the question becomes, if it's not, if it's just the show did okay, the Star Wars fans that watched Rebels and Clone Wars liked it, didn't love it, but they liked it, and they go, it was pretty good. It definitely was better than Obi-Wan. It's a step in the right direction, but I didn't love it. It was good. It was okay. Didn't get as excited as I was when Luke showed up in Mando season 2 at the end. If it's just okay, what does that do for Lucasfilm?
So I think Lucasfilm needs. This is probably gonna sound a bit weird, but I think Lucasfilm needs something that's just okay right now, because everything has been bad. So if they can get something that
Secret Invasion
was someone.
Secret Invasion, literally, I was going to cancel Disney Plus the next day.
Yeah. If you can go up to someone and have someone ask you, hey, should I watch Ahsoka? And you can honestly go, yes, it's a good show. I enjoyed it. That doesn't mean it's an 8. So
I know people a lot of people didn't like Obi-Wan, and I didn't either. But Obi-Wan was the Godfather compared to Secret Invasion.
Oh,
and I've made it known that I'm a huge Emilia Clarke fan, and in it, and Don Cheadle and Samuel Jack and Ben Mendelsohn. Krennic was in Secret Invasion, and it was the worst thing I have seen since Disney Plus launched, and that including Lizzo and Jack Black. Like, it is hard to do. That got me so mad. I want to show this. Star Wars Marvel Purist, the Clone Wars viewership, season 1, 2 to 3 million. Keep in mind, Rebels was cut after season 4. So I don't know. I got my fingers crossed. I want to see him get it right, because I do think that the future of Lucasfilm and the leadership and the things that are going to happen, they're happening regardless of what happens with Ahsoka. What's going to be the future is going to, Rebels season 1, 0.68, season 2. So you're saying 680,000 viewers? Because what channel was Rebels on? Disney
Disney XD, which I'm pretty sure was just, so you know how Nickelodeon had, Noggin was like 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Nick at Night was like 11 p.m. to like 3 in the morning. I'm pretty sure Disney XD was just Disney Channel for a specific time of the day.
Yeah,
because I was a kid.
Do you remember the packages? I don't know if you guys have had like Comcast or satellite, but like I have had satellite, and there was a while where I didn't even have Disney XD. Like,
So I always had Disney XD.
yeah, I don't know what
That's
was my package, but like I thought I had it. And when Rebels came out, I was like, do I have this? And they were like, no, but you can add it. And I was like, what? And I had everything. I was like, what is going on?
So I had a Disney 1 and a Disney 2. And at 8 a.m., Disney 2 would say something like Disney Junior. And then at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, it said Disney XD. And then at 9 p.m., it said Disney. So I don't know if that's just maybe something that was special on my cable package.
Yeah, look, it's and I want to talk about, because we're talking about Blue Beetle, and Blue Beetle looks like it's going to be $25 million. And I think there's a lot of people talking about the cultural part, right? The Latino Hispanic. I think that's very unfair to this young kid who's on Cobra Kai, which is a cheap show, but I love it.
It's very good.
Johnny Lawrence, you can't beat Johnny Lawrence playing White Snake, driving, the car.
Oh, absolutely.
The Charger. It's amazing. But, I don't think the problem with Blue Beetle is the fact that it's now, granted, there's some countries overseas, or people in China going to watch, Latino Hispanic led. I don't know. There's numbers around that, but I don't know. But I don't think that's fair at all. I think the issues around Blue Beetle is that Blue Beetle is like a tier 4. People don't even know who Blue Beetle is. My kids saw the trailer when we went to see a movie. I can't remember what movie it was. Maybe it was Super Mario or
it would have been Super Mario.
Transformers Rise of the Beast. We went and saw Transformers Rise of the Beast. And they said, that looks pretty cool. Like, what is that? They didn't know who Blue Beetle. Nobody knew who Blue Beetle is unless you're a hardcore fan.
Just go watch Young Justice. You get a better Blue Beetle show or story out of Young Justice than this.
And then I heard someone say, well, Iron Man wasn't a tier 1 character until they put the first movie out. It had Robert Downey Jr. in it. You're comparing.
I also don't agree with that.
So this kid that's in Blue Beetle, DC screwed up. They should have done a movie with Batman or Superman or something.
But Batman's a fascist.
They should have introduced Blue Beetle into one of those movies to where the audience got to see a little bit of Blue Beetle, and they go, okay, that character was in that. And then they segue into the standalone movie. They just plot this movie out when DC, and DC's also said, guess what? When all this stuff is done, we're relaunching everything. And I know they came out later and said, well, but Blue Beetle, we may, Blue Beetle may be part of the future of it. But it's been the marketing side of it and the PR has been horrible. And I think it's hurt the film. And I feel bad because this young guy it's a lot of weight to put on this young guy's shoulders to carry this movie. And I don't think it's fair. But I want to talk about, I was watching Good Omens the other day and I thought about Bix from Andor and the girl who plays Bix. And I saw it online. I just want to show it as we get towards the end here and we do our giveaways, because I want to support one of my favorite communities throughout the world, which is the Latino. This girl is a Puerto Rican actress, and I want to give her some props. So if you guys saw my stream last week, we're big fans of Sydney Sweeney here on this channel. We've got another person that we're going to back. We're going to go all in on.
Is it Adria Adroda?
It sure as hell is. So this is an article, if you guys can see my side here on, what is it? Movie Web again. I'm giving him too much attention tonight. And it is David Cornsweet, who we now know is the new Superman. Jensen Ackles, who you guys know from Supernatural. He also got a start on Smallville. And he's in The Boys. And Adria Arjona. And let me tell you something about Adria. So you know her as Bix if you watched Andor. But she also is in Good Omens. And she's fantastic in it. And I've been watching Good Omens. And I thought, you know what? I think she's a star. I really do. I think she needs that role that's going to take her to the next level. She's done a really good job in a lot of the projects she's been in. And so I started looking at this, and I saw this article where they talk about Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. And this person, Yusuf DaFinci, on Instagram, did this rendering of Jensen Ackles as Batman, and I'm digging it. Even though a lot of guys can play Batman for the new Bold and the Brave that's coming out from DC with James Gunn. We see David Cornsweet as Superman. I don't think his hair is going to look exactly like that in Superman or the suit. Or the suit, but we'll skip past Superman for a second because he's not going to look like that. But look at Adria as Wonder Woman. Guys and girls, I'm all in on this. I'm all in on this casting. I think she can kill it as Wonder Woman. Now, let me say, I'm not down on Gal. I'm not down on Gal playing super or Wonder Woman. I'm not down on that. I'm just.
I love Gal Gadot.
Listen, I got no complaints about Gal,
Mm-hmm.
but we kind of know that she's not going to be playing Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
I'm under the assumption. I'm working under the assumption that she's not playing it, and that they're going to recast, not that she can be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me, what do you think?
I'm good. I'm good with it.
It's she was in Morbius, which we're not going to falter for Morbius. And so let me stop sharing it. For those of you that maybe don't know her, or I would say watch Good Omens. She's really good in Good Omens. We all know her from Andor. She played Bix, and so there's a lot of shots of her online. I'm not going to pull them up for you, but you know what I mean. Like, if you
probably can't pull them up.
Envision her as Wonder Woman, go check out. Just Google her name, click on images online. I'm not going to take you to where you need to go, but you know she's my pick for Wonder Woman. So I'm going to try to will it into existence. We've got a new. She's a lot shorter than Gal. You know, Star Wars Marvel purist. Hey, you know we can't have everything we want, right?
We can't all be beautiful Israeli models.
Yeah, and look, I mean, there are other parts of Adria that I like some things about her better than I like about Gal. So you're trading off a little bit. But I saw that, and I liked her in Andor. And I made a comment. We covered Andor when we first started our channel, and not a lot of people watched. And I talked about how when she had scenes in the show where there's no makeup, and I talked about, man, she's still beautiful. Like she's, you know, even with no makeup on, and they have a scene where they're torturing her. I was like, she still looks great. And I said it back then. And on Good Omens, she's amazing. Like, so when I saw Good Omens, I started thinking, like, who does she look like? What is? And when I saw this online, and I wanted to show it, and because we're all in on Adria, so we're building a little bit of a, you know, look, we're about female empowerment here, and you know, I'm building a little army of people that we want to really support, become fans of, and now we're up to 2. So we've got Sydney Sweeney and Adria, and we're gonna support them, and so just wanted to show that. So let's give away a few things. It should be pretty easy since we many people in the chat. Okay, so Star Wars Marvel purist, what do you want? Do you want the Mars Needs Max back again? What's up, Mars Needs Max? So Star Wars Marvel purist here with chat tonight. We thank you for all the comments and being involved. You want the Game of Thrones Hand of the King pin, or do you want the Leia?
I was gonna say I'll lay odds on what he wants.
Okay, so you got it. All right. So Mars Needs Max, you want the Hand of the King pin? It's pretty good, actually. So HBO approved. HBO on the back of it. Star Wars Marvel purist. I don't know if I've asked you if you watch Game of Thrones. maybe should have had more Star Wars stuff to give away tonight in anticipation. But I'm holding out. If Ahsoka's good, Leia was my Sydney Sweeney in the 80s.
Leia was everyone's Sydney Sweeney in the 80s.
Leia in the slave bikini outfit was, yeah.
I
If you
saw a
ever saw-
thing about why it kept moving on her.
So Mars Needs Max. This is if you watch Game of Thrones, the hand of the king. It's a pin that goes. You really don't wear it, but it's an official Game of Thrones memorabilia collectible. I would advise not taking it out of the box, but it's a pin that's real heavy and it's pointed on the end. It's really pointy. And in the show, they wear it when the king or queen makes them the hand. They wear it, and when they take away their power before they're going to put them to death, they take the pin away from them. So if you want it, it's yours. Just let me know. I'll send it to you. I think I've already got both of your addresses, so that'll be easy. You want it, Mars Needs Max? Or do you want? Now, we'll say this: if you don't want it, you want to hold for a week or two when we're giving away more stuff. I'm less likely to give stuff to the same person. But I'll. All right, you want it? I'm sending it to you.
Before you end, I do want to ask your opinion on this.
Sure.
I've got a very difficult question for you here, and it comes from Westerosis on Twitter.
Okay, you want me to add that to the stream?
Yeah. It's safe.
Okay.
Rank these hands of the king or queen in order from best to worst.
Well, we don't know how Davos. You can't really count him. He hasn't been doing anything long. Like, the guy don't even have fingers.
Just on one hand.
So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, Tyrion
is the worst.
Okay, so Ned and Tyrion have to be the worst. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because Ned was the hand when Robert died and Jeffrey King, right?
Yep.
So, yes, we can say he was a good hand to Robert, but the minute that Robert died, he's the hand of the king to Joffrey. And I know he basically, was going to step down. He was going to serve Joffrey, but I'd put Tyrion as the worst because Tyrion turned on. Yeah, Ned was too honest, and it's a political position. So I put him one step above Tyrion because Tyrion totally betrayed Daenerys.
So then I think we have to define.
Tyrion basically goaded Jon into killing her.
Yeah.
Tyrion was an accomplice to her murder.
And is still alive and living south of the wall.
By the way, this jackass goes to the council at the Dragon Pit and says, "Who better than the person with the best story, Bran?"
The broken.
Get out, Tyrion. Worst hand of the king. Tywin, pretty good hand of the king. Pretty good. He everything he did was to protect Joffrey in that role. Now, yes, it's power, but Tyrion had power anyway. Tywin.
Yeah.
Tywin had power anyway. And so who else do we have on there?
There's Kevin.
Mid-tier.
Okay. How about Otto?
So far, Otto's a good hand of the new king.
And Strong.
And you know what? He wasn't a horrible hand to Viserys because he found Viserys a new wife, even though it was his daughter.
Yeah.
Viserys knew what Otto was doing. He knew what Otto was doing. Viserys took advantage of Otto's power and influence, just like Otto took advantage of his, and that's what the hand does. So Otto, right there with Tywin, but we haven't seen how all the stuff with Otto finishes, just like Tywin's ended. And then Grandmeister Peisel, right? Kyburn.
Mhm.
I'd put him with Kevin. He's mid tier. I mean,
So would
he
you say
the,
Strong
the
is the best of all of them?
so what's it, Ryan? See, Ryan, you jumped in right when I was giving stuff away. Um, do you get to count Tywin's time with
Oh.
Eris?
So he's not on the Ares isn't on the picture under here with Tywin,
Yeah,
but that's a good point.
yeah.
Um, I don't think we know enough about his time as hand for Ares to count it. What's up, Brian?
Yeah, that's a good question. I do put out of this list. I put Tywin and Marcy's Max said, yeah. So Ryan, you want me to send you this? He don't need it, but I'll offer it to him. You want this Hand of the King pin? That way you can be the hand of the hand to the geeks and gamers. It's actually really cool. It's heavy. I've
Oh,
got
that, yeah. Otto was hand to Jacaerys. And so it would have been Otto's idea to put it to a vote. So I think I'd put Otto as the best hand right here.
yeah. Otto, as of right now, they missed John Aaron. Yeah, they missed John Aaron, which is who raised Ned.
Yeah. And
Um,
Robert.
yeah, so Ryan, I don't know if you follow my Twitter, but I'll get your address and shoot it to you. I'm not that far from where you are, so I can shoot it to you. This is really cool, actually. It's an HBO official deal. I mean, I was stupid. I opened mine and took it out of the box, but
You can see Kevin wearing his right here.
yeah, the hand of G&G. That's what I said.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. John Aaron. I'd have to put Otto. I'd have to put Otto slightly above Tywin until we see how it plays out. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, we'll know. We'll know
Kyburn.
relatively early in the season, I think.
Now, who's in the top right? Because
Strong.
oh no, see, he's kind of like Davos. Like they didn't do anything long enough.
Well, Strong had been a he
Well,
was in the small council for a long time.
When it started, yeah, when it started,
he was he wasn't Laws because the guy that Bill Paxton played the guy that was the AG.
Yeah.
He wasn't Master of Ships. Coin, was he Coin?
I'm going back through. I was going back through it today. I was going back through some of the names to try to get ready because there's going to be more stuff coming out around.
Ryan's got to know this.
Master of Coin. It's definitely Otto for me.
Yeah, Brian made a good
word.
point with with him being hand to Jacaerys as well. I was going to say Strong as number one because while Strong is great, he was always making the best. So that's what I was going to say. He's great. He was always saying what was best for the kingdom. He wasn't trying to enrich his house.
Yeah.
He wanted wanted to do what we would want our leaders to do.
Yeah, we work our way up. So Tyrion's the worst for me. Ned just wasn't built for the job. You know, I put him and then
still love you, man.
And then you have Kyburn, Kevin, and Davos. They're just they're not as bad as Tyrion was. And they're more suited for the job than Ned was. And then you have
But Kevin's the best of those three.
Yes. Yeah. And then I would put the top three would be Otto, and it'd be a toss up between Tywin and Lionel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how I'd rank it. I would say Otto. Man, I like Tywin. I like
Yeah.
Tywin.
Well, so this is why Otto gets it, because Tywin sent Tyrion to be hanged for, you know, half a summer.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's I'm sticking to that. I would say Otto, Tywin, Lionel. I don't know. It's debatable that number 2 and 3 spot, but I
Yeah.
definitely now have Otto number 1. I mean, because even in moments where you think he's going to be treacherous and you don't know how he's going to respond after, he's still trying to make peace with Rhaenyra. He's
Mhm.
everything he does, even with his daughter. You go, man, that's horrible. He's using his daughter, but that was done. That's part of what was done in the realm of the story that we're watching in those days. You know, people were married off, and it was about power and alliances. And you know, again, Viserys knew who he had in Otto. You know, so
Mhm.
Viserys
Yeah.
was political too.
He was
And
Masters of Law.
so yeah, that's yeah, I'm starting to get caught up on a lot of the stuff around the hedge night and stuff,
Mhm.
kind of getting ready for that. So that way we'll start doing videos for that. I can really dig into it and talk about, you know, why the Duncan Egg story was important and kind of how far down the rung of the ladder Egon was. You know, the thought that he would, you know, they wouldn't have sent him out to all these areas of the kingdom if they thought he was even had a chance of being, you know, being the king, right? And so the dynamics of the different players um, around that story. So we're going to be doing some videos around that, but
I'm
uh,
looking forward to that.
so yeah, so Mars Needs Max. I know you just got you have some stuff coming, right? Yeah, yeah. So you'll be on the next giveaway, but and again, we'll see how Ahsoka goes. Again, I've made it known that I think people are going to be disappointed, but you know um I'll be planning on giving the Ahsoka Hot Toys box away if the show's good. Um, Ron says Tywin was basically let uh to, to let Eris die because he knew he was shit wanted Rhaegar. If Barristan hadn't climbed up that tower, save him. Yeah. Yeah. Tywin, you know, eh, yeah, you got the Stark pint glass. These glasses are really cool. I should have had beer in mine tonight. I rushed up to get ready for the calls. I was eating dinner, and I should have had cold beer in these. I'm gonna put these things in the freezer, get them or in the get them
I need to
cold.
get mine cold too.
Uh, but but yeah, so the the uh the Ahsoka show this week, we'll see. There'll be a lot of content around it. We've got Equalizer 3 coming up. I'm gonna do a quick video here in the next. I've got a video coming out tomorrow on House of the Dragon season 2 filming, and then and I hope everybody liked the one we did on Deadpool 3
Yep.
and X-Men that came out this weekend, Friday or Saturday. And I kind of like how that video turned out, but working on shortening condensing our videos. But so I'm going to do a short video in the next week or so on Equalizer 3. Vidger says uh,
Oh
Tywin
yeah.
Tywin hated Eris because he was making lewd comments about Joanna and made Jamie a Kingsguard. Yeah, you know, Jamie, that whole point about the position that Jamie was put in, that nobody, you know, until you hear him speak about it, you know, you know, Jamie had a tough decision to make, right?
Mhm.
He's the King's Guard and he's with Eris and his father's at the gates. And you know, he knows that what letting them in means. You know, Jamie knows letting Tywin in means it's over for Eris. And then Eris starts, you know, when he starts saying burn them all. I mean, when we get to finally hear Jamie when he's in the hot bath and
Yeah.
nobody knows. All they know is that he stabbed the king in the back.
Mhm.
And see Jamie tell the story to Brienne, and Brienne's like, "Why didn't you tell anybody?" And it's like, "What's the point, right? Like, it doesn't matter,
By
you know?"
what right does the wolf judge the lion?
Yeah, it's like
That's such a good phrase.
it's yeah, and that's the kind of stuff. Watching The Winter King, and I know I'm comparing it to Game of Thrones. You know, you've got to have when you start talking about the medieval stuff, and
Mhm.
just like when you're doing movies like John Wick and Equalizer, and like the genre that you're in, that your dialogue needs to reflect that. It's like
Exactly, yeah.
it's it's the same as someone said when they were watching Strange New Worlds, not the musical episode. I think Robert Meyer Burnett talked about it. Um, they're all questioning the command, right? They're all like, "Hey, well, all these young people arguing on the bridge," and you have to your dialogue and your writing has to reflect the genre, and it has to make sense, and it can't be, that's why Game of Thrones, it when you every single scene that the Hound had, made sense to me.
Yeah.
He wasn't quick. If you think about the actor, he wasn't quick to say anything, right? He would he
Mhm.
would look at him, and then he would be like, "You're a," you know, he just would unload on him. That's what made those scenes so good. And Jamie had some too. Ron says, "I like how Jamie's stories about honor, but also points out that your life can't always be honorable when you swear oaths to so many different things. Honor to your family, your
Mhm.
king, and knight."
Mhm.
Yeah, that's where. I mean, in all honesty, we saw what the purest form of honor was in Ned, and that doesn't align with power. Like, Ned is, Lord of Winterfell by birthright, but and he's a great warrior. But where the Seven Kingdoms was when we start Game of Thrones in season one, it's not a place that's conducive to Ned surviving and thriving, because he's too
100%.
he's his loyalty and honor is pure, and Jamie's is like, hey, you know, it's look at there's an old George Washington quote when he left office as president. His advice to John Adams and Thomas Jefferson and the people he knew were going to take over, after him, is he said, "Be wary of long term alliances."
Mhm.
You know, the things shift, things change, and I think he put that in a letter that he wrote, and that we still have to this day. So, like, Jamie kind of understood that. It's like, hey, look, you can have an oath, you can have a code, and you also need to assess the situation because things change, people change, and you could say, was Jamie ultimately an honorable guy? I mean, I do like what Nicholas said in an interview recently. He talked about he was okay with Jamie's end because he said, "Look, he loved her and she was pregnant, so of course he was going to go to her." And I know people thinking he was going to kill her. She had his she had his baby, it like so. Ron says, but even Ned tried to lie at the end to save him and his family when he could have proclaimed Joffrey a bastard in front of everyone. Yeah, when he realized that he was about to get his head chopped off, and it was, he had underestimated this little kid. Um, he was willing to fall on that pride to live and fight another day when the moment was in front of him. And then Ron says he lied to his wife and everyone about John because Zoe's his sister. Yeah, I mean, he would have broken that because he was going to tell John. He told John when they got back together, when they, he was going to tell him about his mother, so it
Mhm.
was come out. And and Caleb, did they ever say about the books versus the show? Did they never said in the show that Catelyn knew that John was that was
No, no. So Catelyn Catelyn
he and his
hated
son.
him.
Yeah.
Catelyn hated him more in the books than she did in the show because
In the books, she thought he was just from an
yeah,
affair
he
that
sh-
had.
everyone thought he was just the bastard of this wench that he met on his campaign.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, so she hates him so much, she tries to get uh Rob to name some like third son of a lord in the Vale of Arryn as his heir rather than John.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she uses the fact that he's in the Night's Watch, and Rob says, "I'm pretty sure if I sent the Night's Watch 100 men, they'd find some way to relieve John of his oath."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love that Ryan's talking about this because there's a book series called The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. Aragon, Eldest, Bersinger, and Inheritance.
Star Wars Marvel Purist. I haven't done the audio. I read the books. So
Yeah, the audiobooks are good. Roy Dotrice, rest his soul, he is dead now. So whoever's going to read the next one when it eventually comes out, I don't know, but he does a good job of reading it.
that's George is good at that. He is good at writing the area, the gray area that we all live in. You
Mhm.
know, it's I was talking to somebody about something completely different. I'm about 15 years older than this person, and they were asking me, they were speaking in absolutes, right?
Yeah.
And when you live long enough and you go through enough shit, like I have, um, you just you learn that speaking in absolutes when you haven't been through it,
Hmm.
it's not the smart thing to do. So this person was like, giving me and they may still think those things when they're 45, 50, entirely possible. But they asked me, what do you think? And I said, I think that it's one thing to say that you believe this, that you think this, but when the shit hits the fan and you're confronted with real stuff that's on your doorstep, eh, we'll see. We'll see what you think. If you still think the thing afterwards, then and we all live in that gray area. We only a Sith deals in absolutes. That's right. Like,
Yep.
um, so it's one of those things where George is really good at that because it's to survive. Look, Cersei said, the Game of Thrones, it's win or die, right?
Yeah.
You that is what it is. I mean, like in that world, in the Song of Ice and Fire, um, you know, um, it's you have to be able to adapt, and we saw Arya do it, or else she would have died. Um, Look who joined us. Yeah,
What's
yeah.
up, Nikki?
Says no, he narrated the Night of Seven Kingdoms book, Venger. Um, Venger, instead of me sending you anything else, and overseas and getting charged, and I'm just going to end up wait until we Sterling and I go to England, and I'll bring some stuff. But yeah, Nikki says thank you. Yeah,
Oh,
we hit
that's right.
you know, we hit our watch hours like 3 months ago. So I told Sterling, I go, we're like ass backwards as a channel. Like it's tough. It's been fun. With working, a lot of hours a week, traveling and raising two boys, and Sterling's got a second one on the way, and we talked initially about doing 4 or 5 videos a week. It's just not possible. Not if you're going to do videos, do it right. So we've learned a lot, but I like where we are now in terms of like the stuff we're talking about. And I think that we're gonna have more Game of Thrones type content coming out, which is good. And so it and I'm look I've finally had the first show in the Taylor Sheridan world building that I just think is just okay, and that's Lioness. It's just okay. Every other one of his shows are really good. This one could get better, but so yeah, Nikki, you missed the beginning. We talked about the Winter King, the first episode. For those that want a little bit of a Vikings type fix, the Winter King, which is Arthurian, is the first episode is out on Amazon. It's free. So we watched it and talked about it a little bit tonight. But thanks for the congratulations. Yeah, we're gonna try to put the afterburners on for the end of the year. I've got a few things I'm trying to do that hopefully will be fun. And but yeah, the watch hours is it's weird. It's we got a big boost. We had a couple of 1923 videos and some stuff around Jon Snow that came out at the same time, and we got a big boost in hours from that. And and we got pretty good feedback from the superhero con where I filmed some stuff with Kit and Amelia. Um, but but yeah, so um, Nikki, I don't know if you saw earlier we were talking about that. There's a there's a high tower guy playing a great grandfather of the high tower that Eddie that played in the Tower of Joy. So maybe yeah. So Ryan, the super chats. I'm not even knowledgeable on it. Like, does that? I guess does that get approved from YouTube? I don't know.
I think in order to make money off your channel, I think everything has to get quote unquote
Yeah.
turned on, doesn't it?
So yeah, we got the stuff from YouTube that said, "Hey, you're now eligible," whatever, and we submitted all that. So I don't know how long that's going to take. Um, but we're gonna yeah, as soon as we get all that, I'm assuming Ryan that that's what we have to do is just get the okay from YouTube that we're approved and everything. So I don't know if that takes a week or it takes a month or two. I don't know. Um, but I wanted to say I think he'll be okay with me saying this, Mister. Okay, um, okay, I'll let you know, Ryan. Um, so hopefully he'll be okay with me saying this. I think he will be. Mister Robert Meyer Burnett has agreed to come on. We're going to pick a day and time, and I'm going to make sure that we have the topics that I think will take advantage of his expertise. I love hearing R&B talk about cinema when he was the stuff he was doing in the early '90s, and obviously he's got the experience of kind of seeing different perspectives around that, and then the digital media. So I'm gonna I'm gonna tailor the questions to some stuff I think will be pretty cool. Um, he and I have had a few conversations around like the '80s and stuff like that. So hopefully it'll be pretty cool. We just have to pick a day and that makes sense and do that. So I'm pretty excited about that. But so and while we have Nikki on here, so Nikki, I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead and show this one more time because I want to be representative to the Latino Hispanic community. Um, and those that saw my stream last week know how big of a fan I am of Sydney Sweeney and her variety cover shoot that she did recently. Um, but I have somebody and goes by the name of Adria Arjana, and I'm gonna share my screen here. Um, I'm pulling for her to be the new Wonder Woman. So this person did a rendering Yusuf Da Vinci. I know everybody loves Gal. She's not going to be back as Wonder Woman, so I'm working under the assumption that she's not going to be back. But we've got a Jensen Ackles Batman. I don't really care. There's probably 20 guys who can play Batman. But Adria, after watching her in Good Omens, she also played Bix in Andor, which nobody really watched. Um, but I'm excited to see her. I'm excited to see her in a new Wonder Woman outfit. Maybe a little different look than Gal. And I'm all in on Adria. So she goes in my Sydney Sweeney camp. She can act, Nikki. Listen, Nikki, put a real attractive actress on the screen. You have to get the costuming right. And she has chemistry with the guy playing Superman. If she has chemistry with the guy playing Batman, it'll go fine. It's not like she's gonna be, reciting lines from The Godfather. I mean, this is one Diana Prince. I mean, it's not that hard, but
True.
maybe she can do a scene with Sydney Sweeney, Spider-Woman, Madam Web, and the new Wonder Woman, and it
Different
can be
universes, but yeah.
kind of a la what was the movie with Denise Richards?
The
Back in
world's
the
not enough.
She had Naomi. What was the girl?
Oh, that I don't remember the movie name.
Guy, you guys know what movie I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name of the movie though.
I'm trying to think of it. Very progressive of you. See, I am progressive. God, what was the movie with Denise Richards? Help me,
Wild
Caleb.
Things.
You know the movie I'm talking about?
Yeah, Wild Things, the movie with her and was it Neve Campbell?
Wild Thing. Thanks, Fincher.
Yeah.
So maybe they could do something with Nev, like a la Nev Campbell and Denise Richards from Wild Things, and have that be Sydney Sweeney and Adria and Wonder Woman, Spider Woman. It'd probably make $1 billion. Barbie just did. So anyway, so I wanted to show you guys that. I appreciate everybody jumping on tonight. I went a little bit longer than I wanted to. We covered Ahsoka. Comes out on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm gonna post that. DC Marvel. Yeah, might be rated R though. I don't know if they would. I don't know if they would go with Sony and DC. Would they go with the rated R superheroes? Hey, they haven't done it before. They could finally do it. Pull in a new audience. But anyway, well, I may have lost Caleb. I can't hear Caleb.
You can't hear me?
So let me kind of wrap up. But so we got Ahsoka coming up on Tuesday. It's going to be where I am. It streams around, I think, 8 p.m. So they've changed the time on it. We'll see. Yeah, we can't hear you, Caleb. I'll check on the audio. Should be able to hear you, but we can't. Yeah, it'll be historic. So there's going to be a lot of content around Ahsoka, and thanks, Caleb. We'll work it out. We'll have it again. So, so yeah, Ahsoka comes out this week, and I'm going to do a video because I think we've got Equalizer 3 is coming out. Let's see the date on Equalizer 3. It is September 1st. So we're 10 days away from Equalizer 3. I'm gonna be covering that. I really like that genre. I like the first 2 movies. I think if you like John Wick, you'll like this one. This one takes place in Italy, so I think it'll be pretty cool. And look, man, we don't have enough of these movies. Being just serious for a second, in an otherwise unserious stream, we don't have enough of these movies, and so I want to go support them. When they put out movies like this, they're not making a lot of that. So it's something that I want to cover. So we're going to do that. We'll have something on that. Got a House of the Dragon video coming out tomorrow, and then we'll be talking probably a little bit about Andor. There'll be a lot of content around that. So everybody stay tuned. Hey, thanks for jumping on. I know our stream schedule has been real frenetic and doing a Sunday stream, but we're going to try to get back on schedule and do. I'm going to lock down either Wednesday or Thursday as a consistent date, and we'll go from there. But thanks, everybody, for jumping on. Hopefully you guys had fun tonight, and we really appreciate it. And make sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel, and leave a comment. Let me know if there's some content that you want us to talk about that we haven't covered. And we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Everybody have a great week. And remember, freedom is not a choice. Freedom's freedom. Fight for it. TCB.